Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Here is an example of why I call the United States of America's government, and not only some of their institutions, as Al Capone. The guys in charge of us act like Al Capone, which is, law is just a suggestion and you should obey it. We should not, because we're tough. We don't like something, we just take it. Screw the law. Correct? That's what these guys are saying. And they're acting upon this kind of ideology. And not only bribes and appointments of opening the doors and pushing other people in positions of power in other institutions or other countries, in this case another style of mafia style. So now I have an example, a clear example, as US senators issue a mafia style threat. To whom? To International Criminal Court. Now, do you remember, and I hope you do, when the same international institution, not the United Nations Court of Justice, that's not it. So that's just an international club. I mentioned this before, when it issued an arrest warrant for Putin, the president of Russian Federation, which, guess what? It's not a member state of the International Criminal Court. So it has no jurisdiction. The International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over anybody from Russia. So since the Russians will not give Putin to the Hague, like my friends from Serbia gave Milosevic to the Hague, no, you judge your own guys. They judge their own guys. What do you mean I give my... As bad as some people might say he was, I am not going to allow those guys to judge him, to put him on trial. What is this? Garbage. Anyway, so remember, so the International Criminal Court of The Hague, it's just an international, is not the United Nations. It has signatories, which is the countries that are under the jurisdiction of this. Once I'm a signatory of that, that means I will, abide by the whatever policies and whatever is going on over there, the jurisdiction. Russia is not part of it, Ukraine is not, China is not, United States is not. So remember, United States is not, Russia is not, and Israel is not. So all these three countries, if I remember correctly, are not. I know for a certain. Go and check it out. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, I know the United States and Russia are not. Why? Because when the International Criminal Court issued this arrest warrant with no jurisdiction over Vladimir Putin, the president-elect of the Russian Federation, the United States was, yeah, man, yeah. They were all for it, even though they're not signatories. But they were all for it. They caressed the International Criminal Court. They sucked its whatever. But now things changed. Why? Because International Criminal Court of Justice of The Hague wants to issue some arrest warrants to some people in Israel. Maybe Netanyahu and maybe oy vey. And then instead of having Israel just saying, you know what, you have no jurisdiction, they already said that. And they also said that would be anti-Semitic if you issued any warrants for any Israeli. I explained it in a video a few days ago. But then you have the United States of America intervening and issuing, rather, a Mafia-style threat as Israeli military enters Rafah. So what do? A group of Republican lawmakers, doesn't really matter, Republican or Democrats, they're the same party. Lawmakers released an open letter threatening officials of the International Criminal Court and their families with reprisal if the body issues arrest warrants against Israeli officials. Not American, Israeli officials. So who owns who? Referencing a US statute commonly referred to as the Hague Invasion Act. So Israel Defense Forces tanks rolled into Rafah in southern Gaza Tuesday as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to defend boob. Let's see where these guys have whatever they say. Now, the Republican leaders in the Senate expressed their support this week in an open letter that has raised eyebrows as the tide of public opinion continues to turn against Israel. Journalists of joined to discuss surprising statements. Right. Egypt does not warn them. Anyway, that's not what I mean. So let's see what these guys, what the group, what they say. The missive threatens, I'm quoting, severe sanctions on both officials of the international body and their family members if the court moves against Israeli officials, referencing a law authorizing the United States to invade ICC premises in The Hague. You got that? So they are threatening the international body, the officials, their families, or family members, referencing a law authorizing the United States to invade ICC premises in The Hague. What is this? Al Capone style. And I'm quoting, when you read the letter, which I have, anybody can go online and find it. It looks like something from the mafia, said Nixon. It's a mafia-style letter. It is the US saying, look, we're not going to pretend like we're liberal interventionists and we're going around the world to do good. You will do what we say, or basically we'll come after you and your families, end quote. It's the honest face of US imperialism. Yeah, I like that when you say, well, I'm an asshole and I'm going to punch you in the face. Instead of saying, no, I'm going to punch you in the face, but that's to protect you and you have to tell me that I'm the best person in the world. This is the current situation where they fuck up things and then say, no, we're exceptional. We're doing it for the common good. We're the defenders of good, self-appointed. All right? No, I like those guys. I mean, the ideal thing would be you're a good person and do good things, and people will recognize that you're a good person. Right? That's in the fairy tales. In reality is we are good and bad or more good, depending, and then we act upon it. But some are consistently bad in international affairs, like bombarding countries left and right, or invading them on lies. And then after they do that, they say, hey, I do this because I'm a good person. I fight the evil, which I assign as evil and ascribe you're an evil. And then I say, I identify as very good. But hey, you don't have the same right of self-identification. Only I somehow can identify anybody however I feel like and identify myself however I feel like. You can't have that one. Why? Because we're equal. But some are more equal. Remember George Orwell's Animal Farm? All right. So let's see. There's only one difference, Garland, between this and the Mafia, added co-host Wilhelm Leon. The Mafia doesn't send letters. That is the only difference, and when you look, I'm quoting, at what the US threatened to do, sanctioning employees, preventing members of the ICC and their families from coming to the United States, and then closing with, you have been warned. What a threat this is, responded Fantino. As you said, mafia, tin pot, dictator kind of behavior. So what do you think, my friends? It's a rogue nation? Now, Netanyahu has likewise warned the ICC against issuing arrest warrants, claiming that doing so can be an unprecedented anti-Semitic hate crime. Okay, can we finish this garbage with this kind of things, anti-Semitic, If it's something against you, it's something against you. If it's about anti-Romanian, it's anti-Romanian. But no, you don't have that kind of things. Why? Because anyway, let's move on. Russia Today. US lawmakers preparing sanctions against ICC over Israel. Axios. Some Republicans are reportedly hoping to dissuade the International Court from issuing arrest warrants for the Israeli leadership. Why? Because the United States of America is the lapdog of. Anyway, so this is the same thing they say here. Now, in January, the United Nations International Court of Justice, ICJ, that's a different one, not ICC, said in a ruling that it was plausible, end quote, that the Israeli military has committed beep, beep. Now, this is one thing, and something personal now. Something personal. I mean, it's very clear to see who's who, what, who owns whom, and who pushes the buttons here. Right? They don't even pretend anymore. That means they're desperate. Why? People already know what's going on, and they're speaking out and loud. So another article here, which is, I would say, personal for me, because sometimes, I mean, it's good that this happened, because you know who's who, what's what, and it reinforces your assessment of how the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. Senate, the Congress functions, and who owns them. All right, it's very clear. Unfortunately, you see so-called lawmakers who seem to be on the same, I don't know, quote unquote, whatever, payroll. And it's sad. I used to like very much, I still like to a certain extent, Josh Hawley, a senator of Missouri, U.S. Senator of Missouri. I liked that he's very smart and he is ballsy. But he made some statements on the same issue with the Middle East, and I felt like throwing up. So I said, "You too, Brutus." Remember that? Who said that? Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar on March 15th, 44 before Common Era, when he was stabbed from behind and then by all those senators, including his friend Brutus. He said, "You too, Brutus." Yeah. And supposedly Brutus was aiming for his groin. Anyway, these are your friends. Okay, so the same for me. Then it was another one who, again, Cotton. His name is Cotton, Senator Cotton. Again, Cotton. He fell from grace for me. Hawley was higher than Cotton for the same reason. And now is Chip Roy of Texas. I didn't know. I'm waiting for, how do you call it, Rand Paul to do the same thing, and then I say, fuck it, man. I'm not going to go with Marjorie Green, whatever. She is over there, clearly on a different level, but I can't go with, what's his name, one of the two senators of Florida. I can't go with Rubio. Rubio was never my friend. But the other one, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is very smart, very good debater. Trump fucked him up real bad, destroyed him, and again, he's again on that side. The other one was the Florida, how do you call that, governor, again, DeSantis. The same issue. As I say, if you want to, when you meet a new person, and you engage that person in an intellectual debate, or maybe exchanging, or not debate, just discussions, other than how was the weather, the game yesterday, and important things, or social political issues or subjects, ask two questions, and then you figure out the level of, I would say, intellectual honesty. Ask about Israel and about Middle East and and the other one, ask him about some religious stuff. If he's a Christian, ask him about if he still believes, if he really believes that, let's say, Noah built the ark when he was 600 years old and he died when he was 900 years old. And if he answers affirmative on both this, then you know that you have to really, maybe talk about weather and the football game yesterday. So I'm going to show you Chip Roy, which again, I watched him many, many times. I thought he's a kind of a lion, but it seems like he's a lion, you know what I mean, with an R at the end. Chip Roy demands sanctions on ICC officials going after US in Israel. Right? They had no problem with these guys going after the Russians. But us, no. That shows you. Chip Roy, unfortunately. Who are these guys? I'm going to show you. So Chip Roy of Texas. And I'm not going to... Here it is. Chip Roy and Netanyahu. I don't care about Netanyahu. I mean, Netanyahu fights for himself and his people. But I want Chip Roy to fight for his people, not for those people. You know what I mean? The same. I don't want Orban to fight for the Romanians. I want Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. I want him to fight for the Hungarians, and so on. I want Chancellor Scholz to fight for the Germans, not for the Americans or for anybody else. But unfortunately, things are like this because you can see clearly the connection, connecting the dots, who's who, what's what. So Chip Roy, unfortunately, if you have to be in that position as a U.S. representative, House, whatever, and you have to do this kind of things because you're afraid that you might lose elections, because if you don't get a little support from certain political PACs, things like this, then that tells me that that particular organization group has dominance over our elected officials. It should not be like this in a republic with a democratic system of elections and so on. It shouldn't be like this. Our democracy is garbage. It's hijacked. That's the way it is, my friends. And unfortunately, these people show their faces one by one. I mean, again, the guy, what's his name, Johnson, or whatever his name is, the majority leader in the House of Representatives, he voted again for a bill giving $61 billion to Ukraine, and then $16 billion to Israel. He broke the 50-50, exactly 50-50. I don't believe in that one either. And then he broke that and he voted for, give them. Those guys are not working in our behalf, for our interests. They're working for their interest in the first place, and then for other entities' interests who promote their individual interests. That's the way it is. But when you come from a communist country and you're taught and you're told that the United States is this and the United States is that, and they still say it, and it's still better than everywhere else, in my assessment, my problem is going so low it becomes a banana republic. It becomes something that I did not like, and I left. And they're becoming the same way. And the problem is they come in front of you and tell you now. It's not between seeing why Chip Roy does this, for instance, and the other senators, and coming out and telling you we do this because we love that and fuck you everybody else. It's just one more step. So they reach that point. That's the Romanian style. That's the way it is. What are you gonna do, man? I know the chief of police. My son-in-law is over there. My father-in-law is there. What are you gonna do? Nothing. Shut the hell up. Yeah, I did it. So that's the way it worked in Romania, and I think still works over there. We're getting to that point. Before here, it was a little bit hidden. They just come out and tell you. Not tell you. Show you through their actions. Not my interpretation. Actions. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.